And it's Best Laptop logging in to Death Stranding Director's Cut Part 32. We are getting the platinum by reading. This is the end.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. All weapons will remain locked until departure. All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges. Keep on keeping on. Weapons restriction lifted. Your work.
Oh my God, sorry. The history of the Order Deck. Does the name Sigmund Freud mean anything to you? He was a famous psychologist, the most famous of them all, perhaps. But I digress. Freud formulated one of his most famous theories after observing his grandson playing with a spool of thread. The boy, after observing his grandson playing with a spool of thread, the boy would throw the spool under the bed, thus ensuring that he could not see anymore. He would then wind the thread in his hand, gradually drawing the spool back towards him until it became visible again. He repeated this process several times. It was apparently a game he played whenever his mother was elsewhere. Freud proposed that the process of concealing and rediscovering the spool was a coping mechanism, a way in which the boy could put his mind at ease. You see, the boy was in control of the spool. He could make it disappear and reappear at will. This helped him to comprehend his mother's absence not as something sudden or irrational, but as something controlled and therefore not a cause for concern. A novelist named Franz Kafka later coined the term for this spool thread, Ordak. However, he conceived it as an object capable of speech and autonomous movement, a mysterious being neither dead nor alive. The Ordaks we use are perhaps not so different. These interfaces through which we experience our BB's perception of their surroundings are not unlike spools of thread, a connection between our world and that other side, living and the dead, human and BB. BTs come in all shapes and sizes. Although eyewitness testimony led us cited for several types of BTs, perhaps most interesting of all are the entities which may not be BTs at all. The subjects in question bear some resemblance to jellyfish and are visible even to those without dooms. While we have little information concerning their physiology and behavior, upon detecting the presence of a human, they will attack by rapidly approaching their target before exploding. Disturbing, to say the least, especially given that they appear to be impervious to small arms fire, though perhaps we can take comfort in the fact that they do not seem capable of causing void-outs. Our best guess at the moment is that these are a subspecies of BT, one that does not form as a result of human death. Beyond that, they are a complete mystery. Perhaps when the repatriate Sam Porter chooses to join Bridges, we can attempt to develop a means of dealing with this new threat. In the meantime, however, we can but continue to study and speculate. Near-death experience. Until relatively recently, death could only be studied from the perspective of an external observer, as the experience of one's own death could not be communicated to another. A collaborative investigation of the phenomenon was fundamentally impossible. But through the examination of subjects in near-death states and the cataloging of their experiences, we have at last been able to bring the scientific method to bear on this most final of frontiers. Even in a state of so-called brain death exhibits sign of consciousness. What could this possibly mean? Moreover, why do some of the brink of death report out-of-body experiences? Furthermore, why do so many of those who have such experiences describe the same sensations of being beckoned toward the distant light? Many had argued that these commonalities were evidence of an objective reality, of a place beyond life. If nothing else, they at least suggested that death was not an instantaneous change of states, but a process. The beach has since proven much of this beyond a doubt. and the dead rising again as BT through necrosis demonstrates this process in action. The place beyond life is no longer a theoretical possibility. Its existence must be taken as an incontrovertible fact. Cave paintings and stencils. When 1 year ago. Cave paintings provide an invaluable window into the lives of our ancestors, how they lived, what they experienced. Some have been pursued here on our continent, although most have sadly been lost in voidouts. The oldest cave paintings of all are believed to date back to 4,800 years ago, years or more, but all of these are, or perhaps were, in Europe. What's become of them, I wonder? Have they too been obliterated in an annihilation event? If not, are the caves containing them now infested with BTs? Does Europe still exist, even? One cannot help but worry that these vital records have been forever lost to us, but I digress. These first paintings were likely made by the Neanderthals. They were crude depictions of creatures such as deer, bison, and horses, interspersed with stenciled outlines of large hands. Some assert these are the signatures of primordial painters, but could they not also be depictions of BT handprints? Could our ancient relatives have been trying to tell us something or issue a warning? Or is that perhaps one flight of fancy too far? The following conclusions are largely derived from a handful of eyewitness accounts. While I would advise anyone to take following are largely derived from a handful. Okay, I would advise. I still believe they are worth sharing. BTs pursue their prey through a multi-step process. And the first, they begin searching for a target. The handprint left behind is evidence of this behavior. Upon detection, one or more BTs will attempt to seize their target and drag it towards a much larger entity. To clarify, however, a void out does not occur at the point of contact between the giant and the human, but only once the human has been subsumed into the giant's body. We think this may be because it's the only place where antimatter is present within the entity. It goes without saying that BTs are entirely different from any key creature that is of this world, and we have much to learn about them still. One thing is for certain, however, we must come to understand them, else we may never overcome the existential threat that they pose. I tell you, for many creatures that of this world, we have much to learn about them still. One thing is for certain, however, we must come to understand them, or else we may never overcome the existential threat that they pose. Neanderthals are not extinct. Both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens are believed to share a common ancestor in the form of Homo heidelbergensis. There are clear differences between the two. Neanderthals were brutish and brawny, well equipped to hunt larger animals and survive in colder climates, whereas Homo sapiens were slender-limbed and only capable of hunting smaller prey. But as millennia passed, Homo sapiens learned to create tools and hunt in packs. The Neanderthals, who actually had larger brains than the Homo sapiens, also fashioned tools of their own, but these were crude in comparison, developed little over 200,000 years, perhaps because these simple-minded beings favored small family units, so that even if a breakthrough occurred, it was unlikely to be shared with others. This isolation, more than any other factor, seems to have led to their decline. Homo sapiens, meanwhile, conceived religion, with large numbers of individuals could be bound together in service to a common cause. Strength in numbers also made their communities more resistant to famine and other calamities. In other words, Homo sapiens grew stronger through interpersonal connections by creating what came to be called society. If we persist in our divided state, we risk losing this hard-won unity and dooming ourselves to the Neanderthals' fate. We will dwindle and die, apart and alone. But history holds another intriguing lesson. Homo sapiens did not sustain Neanderthals. The two species even intermingled on occasion. Our DNA retains vestiges of our ancient cousins even now, so you see, while species itself may disappear, its genetic legacy may yet endure. A year ago, the evolution of life on Earth could be described as the evolution of consciousness. While the first vertebrates clambered out of the ocean and onto the land, their consciousness expanded to process a new realm that lay before them, but their development did not end there. Their eyes moved from the flanks to their fronts. That they might comprehend the depth of the world, mammals formed groups, increasing their chances of survival. Eventually, they came together in communities and then larger societies. In order to preserve and maintain these structures, humans developed a perception of time. In order for societies to outlast the lifespan of the individual, we conceived of an afterlife and a future beyond ourselves. Alas, the Death Stranding threatens to undo all our progress. Consider the chiral network, which incorporates the beach, where time does not exist, or consider timefall, which rapidly accelerates the degradation of that which comes into contact with. How can our sense of time, honed over millions of years, remain intact when we must cope with such irrational phenomena? Yet, that is but the tip of the proverbial iceberg. We are growing apart, retreating into isolation, gradually losing our place within society. I would even go so far to say our conceptions of reality are under threat. How could they not be when our very eyes deny the invisible BT that stands before us? The Stranding has warped our consciousness. In every sense, it is the evolution of life on Earth. It is indeed akin to the evolutionary of consciousness. Then, what is happening now is undeniably a regression, is it not? There's one caveat, of course. Some of us are now far more aware of death than we ever before. That is what Dooms has given us. For me, therefore, Dooms is not merely a biological change. I prefer to think of it as a means by which I have achieved a new form of consciousness. Furthermore, I hope and believe that this new awareness of the other side is for humanity's trump card as we seek to defeat the Death Stranding. 3 months ago, an article from an old scientific journal was recently brought to my attention that predates the Death Stranding and concerns the discovery of 380 million year old fossil, one from the Devonian era. To give the period its proper name, it was a fossil of a fish, and in its womb was a child connected to its mother by an umbilical cord, no less. The species, Mater piscis adobori, is a Plasodium, an extinct class of armored marine creatures that used to live in seas the world over. Unfortunately, most were wiped out during the Devonian era, right around the time of the second of the Big Five, in fact. As you may be aware, one of the key foci of my research is the link between creatures with umbilical cords and mass extinctions. Once this area is connected to the chiral network, it is my hope that we will be able to piece it together more data that will help us learn more about the link between umbilical cords and the Death Stranding. We're in the Earth's mantle. Brigmantite is a mineral found in the lower part of the Earth's mantle. It was named in honor of the Nobel Prize-winning psychist Percy William Brigman. Brigmanite comprises 38% of the Earth, but because it is only found deep beneath the surface, it is very difficult to acquire any samples for analysis. As luck would have it, however, a material with the same properties was discovered inside a meteorite. For the Death Stranding, of course, meaning that a certain amount of research has already been conducted into this mysterious mineral. After a fashion from this theory has been advanced, Whiting Ridgemanite contains a certain amount of beryllium that was absorbed into the mineral at the moment of the Earth's creation. If this theory is true, then it may go some way to explain this curious tar that has been observed to bubble up from below ground. Furthermore, if beryllium does indeed come from the other side, as we suspect, then it would follow that has been linked to ours from the very beginning. In essence, the heart of the planet could be likened to the world of the dead. How appropriate, given that chiral clouds bind us to the surface. Furthermore, none may ascend to heaven when they die, for our final destination lies beneath our feet, ashes to ashes, as they say.
Here's the extracted text from the image. Title, about the dream catcher. Who Hartman? Where Hartman's lab? When? 1 year ago. There is a psychological framework which posits that the human personality is comprised of various strands. Our inner mind, our outer character, each is a strand, or thread, made up of yet smaller threads which intertwine with others to make us who we are. And in nurturing each strand, we become better people and inure ourselves against psychological harm, or so the theory goes. As odd as it may sound, this is not an entirely dissimilar concept to the one which lies behind that most ubiquitous of Ojibwe artifacts, the dream catcher. You've seen them before, yes? A woven web of threads said to protect the mind from harm by trapping nightmares, thus ensuring that only pleasant dreams pass through. It is no coincidence that these charms came to symbolize the pan-Indian movement of the 20th century. The many and varied Native American tribes strove to set aside their differences in order to foster a group identity, a singular dream. As such, it came to symbolize what made them one people, what united them. In essence, strands can represent that which makes us who we are, that which differentiates us from what we are not, and the bonds we share with one another. Let me know if you'd like to adjust or format any part of this text.
QBs. QB means not, and Quaker language. Objects given this name were used in ancient Incan society to record and transmit information. And yes, Amelie just so happens to wear one. The Inca would pass QB from one place to another via a network of messengers known as the Quakus. You might be surprised at the complexity that can be communicated through a simple system of knots and not merely numerical data. It is said that whole histories could be contained in these intricate webs. Some theories suggest that they were ascribed magical properties too. Certain combinations of knotted numbers were thought to encourage the dead to sleep peacefully in their graves, for example. Thus, we see that the QB is at once a tool for communication, storytelling, and ritual. About Sam's return. 1 week after Sam's return. Sam's return, safe and sound, had been a month since he departed for Amelie's beach. 30 days of relentless searching for us, though for him it must have felt like an eternity. I cannot imagine isolation and despair he must have been forced to endure, a suffering known only to Amelie and Bridget. Sam has told us about the extinction entity and how it granted humanity a reprieve, but beyond that, he's reluctant to speak. But we shall not put any pressure on him. Frankly, I expect he would struggle to comprehend anything else he tells us. Suffice to say, the last stranding has been avoided. Even if its precursor has forever shaped our world, thousands of years from now, should intelligent life walk the earth and find our fossils, they will likely conclude the Homo sapiens died out in the sixth extinction. Perhaps if we are lucky, they may even find records we leave behind. Still, we cannot hope to guess how much they will understand about who we are, who we were. And after all, their intelligence will not be like ours. Theirs will be a different understanding of the world, of the universe, different forms of existence, different conceptions of what it is to be alive. These invariably lead to different conceptions of what it is to die, but it matters not if they never understand who we were. All that matters, in my opinion at least, is that they know that we were here. At what point do you need to die? Even the present soul. We read that. Repatriates and voidouts. I've come across a number of old reports which makes mention of humans who have certain powers which have led them becoming known as repatriates. As we know, when a human being comes into contact with whatever results, which is analogous to what physicists would term as an annihilation event, these events occur when matter meets antimatter and mass is converted violently and abruptly into energy. The process is highly efficient, though some energy is lost to the production of neutrons. Similarly, in a void out, vast amounts of energy are released, resulting in the destruction of a devastating scale which leaves behind a large crater. Void outs triggered by contact with repatriates, however, consistently result in smaller craters. It is suspected that this is because energy is lost to the beach in the same manner that is lost to neutron production. In a conventional annihilation event, that is in the case of repatriates, the amount of energy lost is particularly high. That said, how the repatriate's body survives intact is a far bigger mystery. and one on which I will refrain from commenting until I have had the chance to examine one in the flesh. One notable repatriate is Sam Strand, a former member of Bridges 1 who left some years ago and has been making his way in the world as a porter ever since. I do hope I get to meet him someday, considering how invaluable he could be in advancing our understanding of the true nature of beaches and Death Stranding. Bees are reaching out to us. 2.4 million years ago, Homo habilis started to craft stone tools. Hands are so very important, don't you think? Our other sensory organs passively interpret data. Our eyes light, our ears sound, our noses smell, our mouths taste, but hands are different. The touch requires conscious action to grasp, more so to connect that which is in our left hand with that which is in our right still more. And the handprints we see when BT seek out humans. Why I say that's just evidence of otherworldly friends yearning to forge a connection. They're reaching out to us, attempting to bridge the gap between realm of the dead and the living. King Midas the Kyle Crystals, 2.5 years ago. Has been circulating regarding a man who calls himself King Midas. Unlike his namesake from Greek mythology, however, this gentleman does not turn all that he touches to gold. Instead, he claims to wield the power to create crystals at will. The story suggests that he gained this power as a result of experiments involving organisms which possess a similar ability. I am, of course, aware of the existence of microbes that could melt and condense gold, in effect, extracting it from ore deposits, but this is the first I've heard of any organism that can do something similar with beryllium. These organisms are apparently akin to cryptobiotes, as well as a coral that is found in the sea. In that they exist outside of time. If this man truly managed to harvest untold possibilities, managed to harvest organisms, then it is an extraordinary achievement which could lead to untold possibilities. Vertebral bioeconomy even. Much like his mythical counterpart, however, King Midas is said to have paid a heavy price for his power. Indeed, his body has turned into a mass of particles, a side effect of crystallizing all the beryllium with which he came into contact. It is said that the only evidence of his existence are 2 golden handprints he left behind. Now, I must temper this rather dramatic story by stressing that no microbes capable of the previously described ability have been detected. As such, I suspect that the king is nothing more than an urban legend, the kind of story spun by dreamers in a world where Kyle crystals are rare and precious and can only be collected from perilous, time-false places. Perhaps we could even consider it a morality tale, the moral being, of course, that greed is never good, where one lusts for gold or for Kyle crystals. It is, however, a remarkable coincidence that not long after I heard talk of this modern-day King Midas, I also started to hear rumors concerning a man wearing a golden death mask. Might the two be related? Who knows? Evolution. Death Stranding, the fear of dying 1 year ago. Death has been Homo sapiens' constant companion for every step of our evolutionary journey. Our cultures and the civilizations have been built with an awareness of our relationship and death. The extent to which we can accept and live with it out of fear of the inevitable decomposition and deconstruction of the flesh. Our ancestors developed elaborate embalming techniques, death masks, and the like. Indeed, the mask has ever been a symbol of the soul that transcends this world to exist for eternity in the next. The mummies and sarcophagi of ancient Egypt are but one instance of this. Honored individuals were given masks and placed inside sarcophagi in order to be preserved for eternity, thereby transcending death and attaining immortality. Paintings and photographs are no different, really. They are simply more modern variants of the Egyptians' masks and sarcophagi. Indeed, all of humanity's crowning achievements, art, language, writing, are arguably a reaction to death, an expression of our desire to overcome it. They are great feats born from fear, and one might even go so far as to say that it was the primal fear of death that drove the evolution of our ancestors into Homo sapiens in the first place. In fact, I would go further still. I would posit that it was this fear that brought back to Death Stranding itself, as it certainly seems more and more plausible of late. Bridge needs Homo ludens. I have already spoken at length about the chiral varieties of man that have emerged in the wake of chiral pollution And from the resulting phobias, homo demens, homo gesto, not to mention those touched by dooms, this much is common knowledge. I, however, would posit that we could further categorize the humans of this day and age. Take our comrades Mama and Lockney, for example. They are creators, are they not? People who use tools to make things, craft people, homo faber, consider dead men. One who looks the dead in their eyes for every day, one who takes their organ as his own. His relationship with death is transcendental, sublime. It is, in essence, his faith, and he is a homo relogus. As for myself, homo lucent, a linguist, one who seeks to understand this world through the language of science and logic. There is, however, another very special human, a breed that would serve bridges rather well, homo ludens, they who play, be deliberate or unintentional. Homo ludens unite people, creating culture, shaping the very world around them, not through violence, nor laws or prescriptions, but rather through metamorphical acts of play. I know of only one person who matches this description, the one they call the Great Deliverer, Sam Porter. Despite Die Hardman's best efforts, however, his whereabouts are still unknown. Chiral Network. 3 years ago, so the core infrastructure is complete. The basic Cupid ready Chiral Network setup is good to go. Now all we do is connect Central Knot City to Capital and prove that it actually works. Sadly, I won't be here to see it. I've been assigned to the expedition team second group, so I'll be heading west with the others before expedition departure. But the people in charge here are the best of the best. They'll have the network operational inside of 3 years as planned. I'm sure of it. And while they're seeing to that, we'll be visiting towns and whatnot across the country and putting the facilities in place for when things are finally up and running. Amelie and the others in the lead group will be forging the connections and laying the groundwork to make sure everything goes to plan. Afterwards, we'll just need to link it all up with operational Cupids, and that should be that. It's kind of like the Apollo mission back in the day. They used a 3-stage rocket to get to the moon, right? Well, we're using a 3-stage process to do something almost as revolutionary. Chiral Network 2, 3 years ago before our first expedition. Chiral Network 2. In a way, the Chiral Network makes use of the beach to allow us to travel through time. See, sending large amounts of data takes large amounts of time, as you'd expect. But the thing about the beaches is, well, time doesn't pass the same way in them as it does out here. Might not even pass at all. Think about how the light from stars in the sky we see was produced thousands and thousands of years ago. Routing data through the beach is like jumping to a point earlier in that journey, thereby cutting it shorter, much shorter. Just imagine massive amounts of data transferred almost instantaneously. That's what we're trying to achieve with the Chiral Network in a nutshell. In theory, the network allows us to reconstruct old data that would otherwise be lost and to do so with fragmented resources. Using what's known as the Evo-Devo analysis, we could take the finger bone of a dinosaur, say, and extrapolate from that not only the dinosaur's form, but its composition, internal, external, even its thought processes to a degree. Anything's possible with chiral computing. In other words, we won't just be able to reunite a nation, we're going to reclaim everything we lost in Death Stranding. More even, theoretically, we could go back as far as the birth of the planet and beyond, and thanks to the beach, we'll be able to compile all that data in one place and reduce the processing time for even the most complex analyses to effectively zero. Drones in the Singularity several months ago. Unknown. Where? Unknown. Yep, the bot is good to go. We're putting it through some field tests within the network service area. Should have the results before long. Delivery efficiency within a given region is expected to improve. Following a successful Cupid connection as well. No, that won't be a problem. The bot's just a cargo carrier. Human input is required to accept orders and set coordinates. Drone syndrome shouldn't be a factor. In the Singularity, not a chance. Well, think about it. AI doesn't die. It might get upgraded or replaced, but that's not at all comparable to death, so it has no reason to fear it, you see. The concept is completely foreign, incomprehensible. Death comes to all living things, but only humans have the capacity to understand the implications. To imagine what it means to no longer exist, that's one limitation AI won't ever overcome. That's the reason it won't ever surpass human intelligence. To imagine what it means to no longer exist. I mean, that's one limitation AI. I mean, humans don't know what it, like, it's just, you don't exist anymore. Well, like, what is before you're born? Nothing. What is after you're born? Probably nothing. Well, in this place, fucking go to the beach, whatever the fuck that is. Fuck, man, you know what you were dreaming about? I think it was beyond those clouds up there. We spent our whole life beneath a Corellium sky. It's all we've ever known, but we also know that the world used to be so much bigger. Our parents told us they were researchers, worked for NASA, though these days most people wouldn't know what that was. It went up in smoke around the same way America did, and all our parents went with it. But we still have our dreams. The one thing our parents gave us that never can ever be taken away. Maligan and I were named after a pair of craters left by meteors which struck the Earth 450 million years ago. Those craters are proof that the planet is part of something else, that we exist within a vast interconnected universe. Our names serve as a reminder of this fundamental truth. Symbols of our parents' hope that our isolation is only temporary. That's why we joined Bridges 2, to bring the people of this country together again and to one day reunite the planet's planet with the greater universe that surrounds it. Fragile. Father and Fragile Express. 1 year ago, Lake Knot City. My father came up with the name Fragile Express before I was born. The U.S. was Swiss cheese back then. All the borders had left credit as far as the eye could see. People were losing their mind looking for a way out. They thought the government would have their back, but it was gone. All the systems, all the gears that kept their world turning, smashed to bits in a matter of seconds. When everything you know breaks, hard not to break yourself. Beyond, our new network was an old one. The whole nation was online 24/7. Cameras and microphones everywhere, watching and listening and recording. That was a strange sort of comfort in that. People said a certainty that someone somewhere would know if you were in trouble. But after the stranding, that all vanished into the ether. No one was looking out anymore. No one was coming to save you. A lot of folks died waiting before the rest caught on and took matters into their own hands. My father was one of the latter. He was working for a private logistics company. It's a company, and he and some friends figured they were in a position to bring people supplies and repair vital infrastructure Americans used to rely on to survive. They were builders, men and women who understood the value of what was lost and wanted to reclaim it. My father and them really believed that they could get it back bit by bit and make us whole, make us America, but with a precious, fragile dream, like so much back then. But if they nurtured it, if they stayed true, he knew it could be all ours again. People, ideas, connections, also fragile. The USA was nothing more than a network of people and the connection between them. No wonder it broke so apart so easily. But everything that's worth something is fragile. That's why I was given this name. My father's not with us anymore, but the bond between us remains fragile, though it is. My mother's Msanga. Where? Unknown. When? Unknown. My mother abandoned us when I was 12. That's what my father told me anyway, but it doesn't feel like something that happened to me. It's a story about someone else, that their tragedy, not mine. I hardly remember her anyway. The only thing that connects us now are matching Singas. My father told me that she was a strong woman, that she sacrificed everything for a dream of America, a land full of hope where we live free. Does that mean she sacrificed us too? I asked him once, art can only bleed so much, gotta harden yours some if you're gonna say unbroken. That's what he said, a mantra or something like that. Her words live by when the going gets tough. He said, I understand one day. I don't know about that. I hope he's right. Bridges staff. Okay. Who? Benjamin Hancock? 2 years ago? Oh, no, not them. Been about a year now since we came here with the rear guard, the first folks who did us a favor of setting up the car relay and patching things up before we arrived, and we're doing all right. Not sure about everyone else, though. Folks back home sound kind of freaked out. We don't know what's going on in Central or Capital, let alone how Amelie and the others who kept heading west are doing, but something doesn't feel right. What's more, a lot of guys have developed some kind of agoraphobia, like the thought alone of going outside scares the shit. Yeah. Igor, Central Knot City. I volunteered to join Bridges, signed up with my brother Victor, so we both remembered when America was still America, when we still had planes and had satellites, when we were still connected to everyone and everything. The world was different, bigger, and we wanted it back. He was chosen for the first expedition, and we hit the road damn near straight away. Me, I got told to hang back here in Central, which was okay, I guess. Corpse disposal, me taking your fair share of time fall in the line of duty. You get a sense for, after a while, a sixth sense for when the clouds are about to open up. Of course, the clouds themselves are a big tell, and inverse rainbows a guarantee you're in for some shit. but there are smaller signs too. Changes in the air, a smell in the wind. When it hits, you've got power outages to deal with. As far as I understand it, which ain't all that far, it's to do with some high concentrations of chiral causing electromagnetic interference or something, which also interacts with water and kicks up clouds of ozone, which then makes its temperature drop like a rock. Anyway, I maybe use timefall, but that doesn't mean I'm immune to it. Believe me, I'm younger than I look. My big bro would take a lot of pleasure in telling you that if he could see me now. Oh, right, it's the guy that died in the beginning of the game, I believe. Victor, Lake at Ground Zero, 2.5 years ago. When I first laid eyes on the lake here at Ground Zero, I was blown away by the sheer size of it. I never imagined anything could be so huge. This is just after Death Stranding, and not many people had seen the craters up close yet. But when I was still living with my parents and my brother on the East Coast and exposed like nothing the world had ever seen before to our gaping hole in the heart of America, there were all kinds of rumors floating around at the time that it was a meteor, that it was a nuke dropped by another country. I was just a kid, but even I could tell the adults didn't have a clue. So you can imagine how I felt. And then we found out there had been other explosions, not just here in America, but the world over. By the time we learned that they were voidouts, what voidouts were, the country was pretty much done. But hey, that was then, and this is now. And things are looking up. I just got told my kid's brother's still alive. Word is he's heading up a corpse disposal team in Capital Knot City, handled his shit well enough to get picked for the second expedition. 3 more years, and he'll be out here for me. Can't wait to see him. Interview with the geologist 1 year ago. Oh my god. That's not actually that many. That's actually not that many. 64. But, yeah. I remember just before I joined the expedition when I found those documents in Bridges HQ, research paper that predicted Death Stranding. People used to believe that dinosaurs had gone extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. But when this fellow investigated various locations where late Cretaceous dino fossils had been found, he came to the startling conclusion that there was hardly any evidence anywhere on Earth that supported the theory that dinosaurs had survived until the end of the Cretaceous. In other words, almost all of them had been wiped out long before that. The only place where there were fossils that did support the traditional theory was here, in North America, which suggested that this was the last part of the Earth to have been inhabited by dinosaurs. Not everyone agreed with this analysis at the time, but let's say he had it right. That would mean that there is evidence of a mass extinction hidden here, right beneath our feet, evidence which could prove invaluable to understanding the one on the horizon. Did dinosaurs who happen to live here just get lucky, or is there something special about this place that allowed them to survive? I'd like to get to the bottom of it, but I'm not sure I have what it takes. I'm not like Hartman. I don't have doomed or any other unique traits still. I want to help myself. I want to make myself useful. I want to research the stranding and help uncover the truth behind it. That's why I joined the expedition after all. Paleontologist, personal shelter. In the period since the very first forms of life arose here on Earth, the planet has witnessed a number of mass extinctions. And as you're no doubt aware, the most significant of these are known as the Big Five. The first marked the end of the oh. All right, the five correspond to the end of the Ordovician period, while the next, at the end of the Devonian period, wiped out almost all of marine life. But the third of these extinctions at the end of the Permian period, around 250 million years ago, was even worse. 96% of all marine organisms, 7% of land. That as a result, the fourth extinction finished off most large reptiles. Though the large dinosaurs managed to hold on, so the fifth came along at the end of the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. We humans are evolved from small man, which managed to survive the. All right. So we humans are evolved from the small mammals, which managed to survive that particular catastrophe. Each of these five extinctions resulted from enormous changes to the natural environment. Species which were unable to adapt to these changes perished, while those which were ideally situated to evolve and thrive did just that. Evidence from records which predate the Death Stranding indicate that many scholars believe the sixth mass extinction was on its way, or that it may have already begun. There was something of a consensus regarding its cause as well. Humanity's destruction of the environment. This led them to sound the alarm, warning the world of what was at stake. At the time, the greatest minds of the era believed that if the ecosystem could be preserved, and if humanity could learn to live in a harmony with nature, then a future could be secured for all of the world's species, humans included. But that was then, and this is now. If the phenomenon we are currently experiencing is indeed the sixth extinction, then it must be acknowledged that humanity is its main target. Is divine punishment for our misdeeds? If so, then I suppose there is little that can be done. Perhaps there is no way forward. The period since the first form of life occurred rose here on Earth, that planet has been in the number of extinction, and you're no doubt aware. But third, yep, evidence from record which today human scholar believes it was on its way, or that may have already begun. There was something of a consensus regarding this cause as well. The environment, sounding the alarm, warning the world what was at stake. At the time, the greatest minds of the air believed that if the ecosystem could be preserved, and if humanity could learn to live in harmony with nature, then a future could be secured for all of the world's species, humans included. But that was them, and this is now. If the phenomenon we are currently experiencing is indeed extinction, then it must be acknowledged humanity is its main target. Is divine punishment for our misdeeds? If so, then I suppose now I'm free to give up. I will endure to find hope in our prior predicament. Evo Devo biologist 1 year ago. I was born after Death Stranding, so my conception of what the world once was is derived entirely from documents, photographs, and video. We didn't used to have time fall from one, just regular rain, no chiral clouds, only the traditional massive suspended moisture. And one certainly didn't have to worry about tar bubbling up from the underground in most localities. Humans could travel anywhere, even in space, and we were blissfully unaware of the beach's existence. Suffice it to say, there is no doubt that there is a period of sweeping change that will have lasting repercussions to all life on Earth. Given that, dooms may simply be humanity's way of trying to adapt and survive. A beach exists within the consciousness of every individual. With these environmental changes, they affect all life on a genetic level. Do they not? That is why I thought to investigate them, and the medium through which I chose to do so is the tar, which has become so ubiquitous. But you're not interested in that, I am sure. So you know there's a very real possibility that we have already failed to adapt to the sixth extinction, that we are all but another evolutionary dead and soon to be left behind. If that is the case, then it could be reasoned that the one that afflicted with dooms, and therefore blessed with an enhanced perception of the beach, are our successors who will survive and supplant us. I suppose that that would be a shame, but it doesn't trouble me at all that much. My research will survive me as well. The doomed sufferers can pick up where I left off. They will carry on my genetic lineage too. For that matter, no, what worries me is that not even doomed will have proved sufficient to endure this extinction. If that is the case, then humanity is doomed. It's certainly a possibility we have to acknowledge, but more than that, one question looms above all: why? Why now? Why like this? That's what I want to know more than anything. Somehow I doubt the dinosaurs and all the other species that came and went ever considered that question, worrying over the reason for this, and that is a uniquely human condition, I suppose. Yet this curiosity may be this idle curiosity may be the key to understanding and overcoming this stranding. Oh, what the fuck was? Oh, god damn it! Beach exists with the concept of every, but the environment that they affect the 100 days not. Beach exists within the constants of every individual, but these environments they affect all life on a genetic level. Do they not? So I thought to investigate them in the medium through which I chose to do so is the Tara, which has become so ubiquitous, and but you're not interested in that, I am sure. So there's a very real possibility that we have already failed to adapt to extinction. That we are, but another evolutionary dead end soon to be left behind. If that is the case, then it could be reason that the ones afoot. Fuck right. So there's a very real possibility that we have already failed to adapt to extinction. That we are, but another evolutionary dead end soon to be left behind. If that is the case, then it could be a reason that the ones afflicted with dooms and therefore blessed with an enhanced perception of the beach are our successors who will survive and supplement us. I suppose that would be a shame, but it doesn't trouble me at all that much. My research will survive me as well, and the doomed sufferers can pick up where I left off. They will carry on my genetic lineage too, for that matter. No, what worries me is that not even doomed will prove sufficient to endure this extinction. If that is the case, then humanity is doomed. It's certainly a possibility we have to acknowledge, but more than that, one question looms above all: why? Why now? Why like this? That's what I want to know more than anything. Somehow I doubt the dinosaurs and all the other species that came and went ever considered that question. They're worrying over the reason for this, and that it's a uniquely human condition, I suppose. Yet it's an ideal. Curiosity may be the key to understanding and overcoming this situation. I'm back. Nice, okay. With one step straight and so my conception of what the world was, okay, derived from documents, okay. Consciousness by every individual, with environmental changes, they affect all of life on a genetic level, do they not? And I thought to investigate them, the medium through which I chose to do so, the tar which has become so ubiquitous. But you're not interested in that, I am sure. So you know, with a very real possibility, they have already failed to adapt to extinction, that we are but another evolutionary dead end, soon to be left behind. If that is the case, then it could be reasoning that the wonderfully with doomed and therefore blessed with enhanced possession of the beach are our successors who will survive and supplement us. I suppose that would be a shame, but it doesn't trouble me all that much. My research will survive me as well, and the doomed sufferers can pick up where I left off. They will carry on my genetic lineage too, for that matter. No, what worries me is that even dooms will prove sufficient to endure this extinction. If that is the case, then humanity is doomed. It's certainly a possibility we have to acknowledge. But more than that, one question looms above all, why? Why now? Why like this? That's what I want to know more than anything. Then I did dinosaurs and all other species that came, and when I ever considered that question, worrying over the reason for this and that is uniquely human condition. I suppose. It's idle curiosity may be the key to understanding. Tar bubbled up from the beach. Aaron Hill. I heard this area was pretty inhospitable before I got here. Got your fair share of mountains, obviously, and on top of that, there were all these rumors about a secret terrorist base or something. So I figured I was in for a bad time, but when me and the team got here, yeah, it was way worse than what we thought. Felt like we could get jumped at any second, you know. I tell you what, though, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the tar out west. Wondered how the hell Amelie and her team made it through. But someone said it wasn't nearly as bad when they made the trip. I was sent out to take a closer look, and man, it was something else. It hadn't been that long either. Hard to imagine all that bubbled up damn near overnight. Honestly, I felt like I was sitting at the middle edge of the world. Right, like that entire section of the is covered in tar. Whatever. We don't know how much about the tar except that it wasn't around before the stranding. Same as timefall and Corellium. There's some speculation that it might be some byproduct of the beach, and that if you could somehow retrace the flow, you'd end up there. That's all theoretical stuff right now. We've got a practical problem to deal with. One of the Cairo relays we built is at risk of going under any moment. We don't know. We don't have that manpower relocated yet, but we should once an expedition shows up. Whether we can wait that long is another question, though. Maybe you could tell them to get their asses in gear if you had the chance. Corellium coating. George Batten 2 years ago, way station was the capital of the city. Truth is, we discovered it by dumb luck. Folks had made a point of building cities outside of timefall regions, but the way stations and the district centers were a different story. No way around it, really, even though all that exposure meant they deteriorate quicker. But when you're keeping an eye out for things deteriorating, you soon notice how Corellium crystals react when exposed to timefall, which is to say, not at all. They showed no signs of degradation whatsoever, stayed rock solid even after getting soaked. It sort of made sense. Corellium comes from the beach, right? And over there, time doesn't pass. Timefall had no effect on the crystals because they may as well exist outside of time. We ran a few experiments. That's pretty much what we confirmed. I know what you're thinking. Why not build waste agents out of beryllium, right? Yeah, if only. Turns out overexposure to that stuff is lethal and can't be stored in large quantities either. Still, at least the beryllium coatings we came up with do just enough to keep the rot manageable. That's something. I mean, really not like a layer, nothing? Or not city. Back before the stranding, people didn't rely on smart drugs like oxytocin so much. Probably because they were so damn isolated. Me and my brother, Igor, we got separated from our folks after the first void out. Shit was crazy. I was just a kid. He was even younger, too. Too young to have to go through all that. Spending night after night holed up in those ruins, it was rough. We had each other, held each other close to stay warm, and it made things better. Docs tell you that the oxy doing its thing. The hormone the body releases when we touch each other. It's why mothers form bonds with their kids when they hold them, and other stuff like that. But with the comms networks not what they were, it's more dangerous than ever to go outside. And even when you got other people around, they don't seem too keen to make physical contact. A collective aversion to an ingrained fear of BTs and voidouts, or so I've been told. Add it all up and you got yourself a people that's isolated, scattered, stressed out, and insecure. So we've got no choice but to supplement our oxy levels, fill the void left by physical affection with chemical TLC. Pretty fucked up, am I right? I know we used to go to war over race and religion and all that back in the day, but that had to be better than living like this. Why planes and drones can't fly. You know what I wanted to be when I was a kid? An astronaut. Believe it or not, must be hard to imagine now, but back before the stranding, the skies were full of drones, airplanes, all kinds of crap zipping back and forth from continent to continent. Some that even went up to outer space, but the clouds went into all that. Nothing flies now. Nah, it all came crashing down in my dreams with it. Damn clouds mess with flight system somehow. Don't ask me how. Eat up comm signals too, which is how come long distance signals can't get through anymore. That's why we got no idea what's happening in our other countries. Set us back more than a century in that respect. People talk a lot about how the stranding center is scrambling for the cities, severed the bonds between us, but it did more than that. It severed the land from the sky. Everything went like clockwork, and we covered all the antimatter. Performed the requested maintenance on the magnetic trap too. It should be a bit more stable now. I still can't believe those amateurs managed to get their hands on the stuff, though. Apparently they stumbled across it while researching chiral clouds. So I suppose that makes a lot of sense. Even before the Death Stranding, there was evidence that regular lightning storms could generate antimatter, and chiral ones are surely stronger. Not like they were able to capture it only once, though, so that's something. Imagine if antimatter was easy to get a hold of. Terrorists would have a field day. Anyway, we got it stored safely now, and no one's the wiser. I just hope something good comes of it. That's all. You know what the alternative is? Block me. The engineer. My horizons ain't exactly broad. That's I'm not completely cut off from the outside world. I knew what Bridges was, and that they were trying to rebuild America. But when you're living down here, it's hard to see how that's got anything to do with you and yourself, am I right? My folks holed up in their shelter after the Death Stranding. Had a kid and raised them in their slice of paradise, and together we lived off whatever fragile resources to bring our way. They told me tales about the good old days, but I've never had much of an imagination. Couldn't see how a country long gone was any concern of me and mine. As far as I figured, if Agile Quest was happy to keep bringing us stuff we didn't need from anybody else, and we certainly need America, or whatever that even was. Then one day I was looking at a part of this machine my dad put together. He was an engineer too, and I know something said "Made in the USA" right there in tiny print. Got me thinking that America might not exist anymore. But the stuff Americans built is still around, making our lives a little bit easier even now. You could say the old country lives on in its works, kind of like how my folks live on in me. They say they died a while back. Anyway, if they were American, I guess that makes me American too. Maybe this shelter was part of it all. Once I realized that, I started pouring my heart into building stuff to help you back into people together. I really don't get them, like, why? Terrorists posing as fragile express couriers 1 year ago. Terrorists have been at it again. You heard, right, about how they've been sneaking in and out of cities disguised as fragile express couriers. We'll have another disaster on our hand at this rate, but it's not like we can just cut them out. We need for those people to keep on doing what they're doing. We rely on those guys for a lot, even though maybe we shouldn't. I hear there's transported weapons now. Why they'd be so stupid, I can't imagine. Spreading shit around that kills in a world where the dead are ticking BT bombs. Sure, terrorists are a threat, and mules are royal pain in the ass. But what genius figured escalation was the way to go when we all know where it leads? We need weapons, tools that can take down the bad guys without killing them. And we need the hardware in circulation gone yesterday. We can't keep folks from dying and accidents are getting sick. We can't keep them from dying, period. The deaths we can put off, we ought to. Violence isn't just ugly, it's damn near suicidal in this day and age. Which is why I'm looking to make a bunch of less than lethal gear in the hopes that it'll prevent a few idiots from getting themselves and others killed. Me, I used to be an ecologist. Amelie thought highly of me and my wife's research into timefall's effect on plant life. She was the one who suggested it could be used to boost agricultural production. See, timefalls radically alter the ecosystem of the entire continent. Obvious, I know. Just as it's obvious, we're powerless to stop it. So we had the idea of trying to use it to our advantage instead, make the environment better, not worse. Easier said than done, though. Take void out craters, for example. Local chiral density is generally higher in their vicinity, which correlates with increased timefall. Without exposure, you'd think they turn lush and green again. Before you know it, unfortunately, it doesn't quite. And not like that. Nothing grows in any of them. Might be the timefall has done something to the soil, but the truth is I don't have a clue, which is one of the reasons why me and the missus were conducting our research. Gotta say for the record that it hadn't crossed our minds that timefall could be used to help grow food. The idea was all Amelie, so credit where it's due.
Mistake I've made, it can't be turned around. I took the easy way out. I took the easy way out. I took the easy way out. And I went one for one. Before casting out the mistake I've made, it can't be turned around now. I took the easy way out. I took the easy way out. I took the easy way out. something again memorable. I wanna feel something again memorable.
Motherfucker. The Spiritualist. 1 year ago, no one has been able to explain Death Stranding, and I doubt that anyone ever will. Certainly not with science. Science is only suitable for observation, measurement, objectivity. You can observe and measure as much as you like, but it will bring you no closer to understanding. Sometimes you need to expand your mind and open your heart, seek the souls of the dead, listen for the waves on the beach. And tranquility, there were no barriers between the realms. People moved freely between the earth, outer space, and the world of the dead. What are myths and legends if not records of these journeys? My research has only confirmed this. The pyramids of Egypt and Mesoamerica, the Nazcan lines, Stonehenge, all greatly built by humans in order to access the beach. So you can see that wisdom of the ancients have never been more relevant. The people of bridges would do well to remember that. I mean, yeah. Oh boy, you want to hear about America? Well, you asked for it. But if you're looking for some rose-tinted bullshit, you've come to the wrong place. I was an immigrant, you see. Nothing special about that. The whole country was built by immigrants. Right off the bat, I could see it wasn't quite the land of the free I'd been led to believe. But for a while there, it wasn't so bad. Even bought into the American dream for a minute. I mean, hell, they let a black guy and a woman take a shot at the presidency, you know? Didn't last long, though. Somewhere along the line, people became so damned intolerant. All of a sudden, there wasn't any room for other opinions or other people, for that matter. We even elected a guy right before the Death Stranding that wanted to build a wall along the whole border. Stop anyone like me from coming in. Once that talk started up, I reckoned that was that. How could I expect a goddamn thing from a country that didn't want me? How could I hope to get by in a land where the weak and needy got fucked over for profit and peace of mind? So yeah, I figured holding up in a shelter was the way to go. There you go. Didn't know how bad things get. No one did, but I tell you, if it hadn't been for that single decision, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. It just goes to show that the only person anyone can rely on is his own damn self. UCA, give me a break. They're just pushing the same old bullshit, repackaged for a crazy world. Yeah, but I got you, didn't I, bitch? Back before the Stranding, there were all kinds of companies selling all kinds of shelters, hurricane-proof, earthquake-proof, disease-proof, war-proof, terror-proof. Probably had a recession-proof model for all I know. Anyway, you could place it. You can picture it all going to hell if they had a shelter for it. And the guys building it, military types, astronomical engineers, the amateur enthusiasts, everybody's an uncle who's out to make a buck. But if you wanted something that'll actually last, you had yourself three solid choices. First is your American survival shelter units. They were global military hardware supplier, used to build big government shell bunkers, nuclear shelters, all that. Started selling to the general consumer right before the training. Damn good timing, huh? Anyway, those maybe were the cream de la cream. Next up, you had your Millennium Preppers. They made it big right after a string of terror attacks started out selling bank vault and reinforced containers and the like. Wasn't hard for them to break into the shelter game, and they know how to build them. Then your domestic guys, road safety, housing, all about affordability. They were cheap and cheerful. Well, as cheerful as anyone could be after the training. Still, they did a lot of good for a lot of folks out there after things went to shit. Doctor, 1 year ago. I know what you're thinking. Why is this Pepper claiming to be a doctor? Don't worry, you're not the first. Rest assured that I really am a doctor. I even have a medical license, so the governing body that issued it to me is long gone, so I won't be offended if that counts for little. License or no, people still need doctors. Peppers get sick too, you know. That's not so hard for you to get your head around, is it? Most folks haul themselves to a city hospital when there's something wrong, but out in the boonies, it's not really an option. But we can't just leave those people to die, you know, full well what would follow. And so I do what I can help around here. I'm the only one people can rely on to keep them alive whenever I'm needed. I try to find someone to transfer me a patient's residence. That's probably the most efficient approach, and it doesn't endear me to supporters either. I've heard the bridge is trying to bring everyone into their chiral network. It's as good as I've heard. It would be a real game changer. I could perform all sorts of diagnosis, and even some treatments without having to leave my shelter. I hope you manage to extend it here soon. There's a lot of people out there counting on us both. Journal 1, Higgs, writing year unknown. Today I made a delivery to a shelter near Middle Knot City. It was my longest trip to date. Actually, man, this is too cheerful. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my fucking god. Okay. Journal 1. Alright, today I made the delivery to a shelter near Middle Knot City. It was my longest trip to date, a new personal best. Back when I was starting out, people tried to warn me off life, saying it was dangerous for prepper youngins to make runs, and that no one would ever really trust me, but what was I supposed to do? Kids without parents need to eat too. And it's not like I had any skills. 2 arms, 2 legs, whole lot of grit. That's all I had to offer. Worked out okay so far. I bring people what they need, and in return, they do right by me. The more deliveries I made, the more orders I get. Never a porter around when you need one. So as long as you don't fuck up too badly, someone ought to throw you a bone. Upside, I've got a 6th sense for 2 BTs. 2. Pretty rare that it's probably one of the reasons why I get so much work. Sometimes people praise me, tell me I'm doing society a service by helping my fellow man. Can't say that factors into it. I'd sooner keep to myself if I could, but I've got to survive somehow. I sure thought I'm going to remain by myself. Another Peppers kicked the bucket. I went to deliver his medicine as usual this morning, but I guess I was too damn late. I wasn't just dead, but on the verge of going necro. Within no time to take him to an internate, so I had to dump him in nearby BT territory. Better than leaving him to pop, especially since my own shed is close by. I gotta look out for number 1. When I dumped him, though, just before he popped up, it was like I could feel the BTs reacting to the corpse. So the beach too, strongest thing, but I felt it before. When I first disposed of someone, the sensation was stronger this time, though. No doubt about it. Don't know if this means I got doomed, but I'm trying to think there's something special about me. A delivery outfit, Wes heard tell my BT sensing abilities, and has expressed an interest in bringing me on board. Seems they operate outside Bridge's sphere of influence, and they want to leverage my experience and know how to expand their operation. Could be interesting. It's funny. I started making runs out of necessity, stay alive, and that's all changed. I'm an atheist now. I live to help other people. Preppers around these parts rely on me. Hell, they wouldn't last 5 minutes without me. What would my daddy say if he could see me now? Got me his own keeper, but here I am, a part of the community, working with other people, bringing the world together. Daddy always told me that the wide world was dangerous, that we had to stay in our shelter. And their whole life, die there. Well, fuck that. Here's what it's all about. But in mine died today. He was out in the mountain on the delivery, and it was so damn foggy, I guess he lost sight of the trail. He called me asking for help, but then the line went dead. Saw the void out from here and nearly blinded me. Guess he wanted to BT territory. That many of us supporters left these days. Not many you could trust to get the job done anyway. Folks quitting or dying, going mule. Electrician's a bitch. I mean, there are reporters left with anyway, not many you could trust. Jason's a bitch. If we're to keep on, we're going to need better equipment and someone else who can track BT that can still manage sometimes, but my power is going to getting weaker. I can feel it. I just wish I knew what to do, because at this rate, I'm fucked. We all are. Ha and Ka, body and soul. Two become separated. You die in this world at least. That definitely ain't the end, though, so long as your soul's got a body to come back to. So you can be reborn and resuscitated anyway. That's why people build coffins and sarcophagi, to preserve the body so the soul had a home they could return to. I learned all this and more from an old book. I found the wisdom of the Egyptians, chock full of interesting tidbits about death and how to overcome it, like the golden death masks of the pharaohs, the ones decorated using magical adornments. Adornments as an indication of the wearer's prestige and power. I tell you what, if we learn anything from the beach, is that the Egyptians had it all figured out. That's why I decided to give myself a mask, and not a death mask though, but one for living, for ruling. Today's the last day anyone sees my face. I don't need it anymore.
I'm just scared that I'll end up alone. You know I'm like a ghost, I see it in your face, and it haunts me that I have to be this way. You say it's gone cold, say I'll do better, but I always seem to disappear again. You know I'm like a ghost.
Oh, baby, can't tell you why we ain't getting high no more. Try so hard. There's something I've been feeling and we're lonely, but we never used to be. Either we're arguing or you leave. We both know something's missing. I've been holding on to nothing. You don't care too much, and it's obvious that you're already gone. So unleash your weapon, aim it at my chest. Then, if our love is a drug, get the one with the trigger. Shoot me down, I don't wanna remember. Yeah, don't try to change your mind when the blood is on your hands. Shoot me down, I don't wanna remember.
Bridges way station out west just got taken out by terrorists. Used avoided to do it. They dumped the corpse nearby and let it go negro, dropping BTs right in people's laps. Word is demons heard that Bridges was sending an expeditionary force out west to facilitate the reconstruction of America or some such. If they didn't take kind to that, terrorists, separatists, isolationists, all these folks claim America is coming for their freedom, that the old guard wants to put them in chains to make the individuals stubborn to the collective. They ask what it's all for in a post-stranding world, when today's triumph is tomorrow's crater. Daddy used to spout the same tired lines, said America never did anything for nobody. That's why we took to living in a shelter, better down the hole than out there under the thumb. Yeah, he was a real saint, my daddy. Tried to run a few times, but he just dragged me back inside, kicking and screaming, where he put his heavy hand of his to work and remind me what had happened if I disrespected his authority. That's love, isn't it? His way of looking after an orphan child he raised as his own. He's only trying to protect me from the evils of the outside world. I owe my life and my power too. First time I ever sensed a BT was when I held him moments before he went necro. It's like when I dumped that pepper's bot. Wait. Held him. My daddy showed me that corpses are precious, powerful things. They're so much more than bombs. Terrorists ought to treat them with proper respect. I've had us team up with a bunch of porters who service the central part of the country. Had to be done. The writing was on the wall for my crew. Otherwise, and guess what? They always got dooms. I got a feeling we're going to be good friends. Demons and terrorists have been getting more aggressive ever since the Bridges expedition team set out, as if BTs and mules weren't enough. Now we've got to keep our eyes peeled for those assholes when we're making runs. All the more reason we've got to come together, get organized, me and my new partner. We've been talking about consolidating our operations so we can cover the whole continent. If we do, I suppose that'd make us like the UCA in some respects. Different structure and methods, but similar ideology. A deep and abiding belief in the importance of community. But the devil's in the details, isn't it? Rule structures can't just let people make decisions for themselves, and therein lies the risk. Can't have us repeating the sins of the past. If another USA and demons, well, they ain't about to think for themselves at the end of the day. And the community needs a strong leader. And the God's honest truth is I'm the only one cut out for it. The rumors I heard about my new partner's power don't do her justice. I knew she had dooms, but she's on a whole other level, I tell you. I've never seen anything like it. Not only can she perceive BTs, but she can actually use the beach. Compared to hers, my powers are nothing. Partly took the courtesy of a few corpses, but it doesn't matter. Not so long after I got her. Before we met, I was bound by limitations of my abilities. I was a blind man groping for shadows of a secret realm, but now, because of her, I can actually go to the beach. The beach! With her by my side, I can reset this world not into what it was with the old USA, but not like what. We just want something new, something everlasting, right here and now, where we are free to do whatever we goddamn please. Our partner's paths are extraordinary, sure, but deep down I know the two of us alone don't have what it takes to bring true, lasting freedom to the people. Everything we've done, that we're continue to do, no matter how much it may seem to bring people together, it's so far caught from the way it should be. Timefall, BTs, Carol Clouds, all this and more serves to cut us off from that's the creation. I have to say, I don't think there's ever going to change. Even people like me and my partner, we have our limits, but now I've met someone who has none, someone who could save the world from this madness, make it whole again, put our shattered pieces back together. Samantha America Strand, Amelie. The moment I met her, I knew she was destined to make us whole again. She told me we'd do it together, and even gave me a gift, a bridge baby. The BT sensor of sorts, although it looks like a newborn, but it's not. Amelie says it was born on the beach, and that served as a link between our world and the other side, between me and her too, to keep it with me at all times. We call it a new child for a new era. I'm not just a delivery guy anymore. I'm a herald for her in a new world. She's given me everything I ever wanted, ever needed, and now I'm free to cut fragile loose. People reminds me of a baby doll, but it's no toy, that's for sure. Neither dead nor alive, half human, half something else. An inhabitant of the in-between, like a mummy, a lump of flesh wrapped around a shriveled yet still beating heart. So many symbols to choose from, all signifying that humanity's reached the end of the road. The stranding was big number 6. I see that now and so much more. The word out supplies birthing BTs. All aspects of a single phenomenon that exists solely to wipe us off the face of the earth. We can't stop what's coming. It's inevitable. Putting Humpty Dumpty back together won't change a goddamn thing. And risking life and limb to try a food center, and why sacrifice what little we got in here and now for a future that'll never come. It's wasteful and meaningless. Amelie agree, I'm sure. I met Amelie on the beach again and pressed her for more answers about the stranding, but she wouldn't give me anything. Maybe she's got nothing left to give. Maybe she's waiting till the time's right. I don't know. I don't care. We all know there's no escaping extinction. I'm struggling to see her angle. Why even pretend to rebuild? Why rail against the inevitable? And there's another layer to this. I can't work it out. I'm getting sick and tired of trying. If he's not going to let me in on her plan, I'm going to have to assume that the worst take matters into my own hands. If he managed to grasp myself, choosing the power to do it. Dear Diary, say I nuked Middle City, wiped it off, cleaned up the map, didn't care about myself, of course, provided the honor, delivered my mercy to the people, like a good little porter. I'm sure she's surprised, but she shouldn't be. Death and destruction are part and parcel of the human condition, and bringing people together only exacerbates that. Be careful what you wish for, eh? It's like when our ancestors came from the old world to the new and brought their old world diseases with them. Natives had no immunity, and over half died in the blink of an eye. Bam. And we've only come up with better, more effective way of killing ever since. The network's only just another means of hastening the end. There's always the logical conclusion of our efforts. Mine and fragile. That's why I partnered up with her, because in my heart of hearts, I knew it was building to this. Sam Porter, where to begin? Dooms, Repatriate, Lone Wolf, Amelie's adopted brother, motherfucker. Impression I get is that he's a loner who's found meaning in being a good Samaritan. Yeah, I tried that mask on for size once upon a time. Sweet little Amelie, though, if he buys into his act, thinks he's got what it takes to help her make America whole again. I tell you what, the more I look into it, the more it seemed like he might actually be a true believer. Fucking hell. Anyway, he's a dead man walking. Even with Amelie's help, he'll be in Central before long, and the second he shows up, I'm bringing a shit ton of BTs down on his head and turning that place into a crater. Then it's bye-bye Sammy Porter, bye-bye Bridge HQ, bye-bye Expedition Team. You could easily just kill someone, bring in a fucking body, and end, whatever. Sam's still alive, not even avoided enough to keep a repatriate down, 6 in my crawl. Second expedition got wiped out, obviously, but Sam seems happy to heed west all by himself. Stupid fucks crazier than me, or maybe just desperate. Still can't figure why rebuilding the nation's so important to him. Well, whatever. He wants to keep at it, he can be my guest. Even if he still had the others backing him up, it would make a difference. Ending's already been written. I've written it out, worked out exactly how it's going to go down, but Doom alone isn't enough. I need a greater power to finish the job. Spraying down the fire and brimstone on these mandates to Doom and Gomaras. I discovered the truth about Death Stranding. Amelie's power has nothing to do with Doom. She's destruction incarnate, the angel of Death Stranding, the extinction entity. I understand now what my true role is, the bridge that will deliver her judgments to the world, the executor of the end. No one knows, not even Sam, but they will. Sam arrived in Port Knot City and we're fragile to boot. To think I'll meet them there and bring a BT or two along for the role. It's past time I showed Bridges how powerful I become. Come one, come all. We'll have ourselves an annihilation party, and when it's over, there'll be no one left to come between me and Amelie and the rest of the world. God damn it, Sammy Boy Stubborn. Just ain't the quitting type. Seems it's rubbing off on Amelie too. Girls trying to fight her true nature, flip the script for all the good it'll do her. What difference does it make her if it ends tomorrow or a million years from now? If this planet's 4.6 billion years old in the universe, God only knows. Humanity's entire history, a blip on that time scale. What's the fucking point of fighting for a fraction longer? Anyway, Sam and Fragile made it to Lake Knot City, which is just as well. I reckon my old partner too for a show down memory lane. I'll saunter through the craters she carved out with that nuke of mine. Come think of it, maybe Sam ought to walk it with her. Yeah, I think I'll have them make a special delivery for me. Okay, that's why I make it over there. Well, shit, Sam and Fragile made it to dispose my nuke before it went off. They weren't smart enough to see through my disguise, but something must have tipped them off, probably what I wrote on the tag. I know something resisted the temptation, but come on, who the hell reads that shit these days? And now he's halfway to the coast, but he's in my neck of the woods now. My boys ain't about to let it up. We're gonna make him regret ever fucking with me and mine. The past guides the present, and greatest of deliverers obtained all Death Stranding trophies 100%. The fuck was that from? That sucked up Sam, a supercell or whatever. I hooked up my BB just before I arrived in it, and it started shaking and blinking, and it's all gone sideways. And there's something else out there, something all kind of fucked up. Don't need BB to tell me that. That wasn't you? Wait, that wasn't him? That was just interesting. I got Amelie, fucking finally. She's trapped in Knot City, a horde of BTs all around. She's not going anywhere now. No, I'm gonna go good care of my sweet little angel of death, my extinction entity. We got plans, me and her. As for you, Sammy boy, you're gonna learn what it means to really suffer. Welcome to the edge, Sam. You're a real asshole, but I've got to admit, you've got great. You remind me of me in that regard, and because we share a connection to Amelie. She gave you your dream catcher, me, my quippy. Well, you've never seen her face, have you? Never looked her in the eye and seen her for what she truly is. Have to wake up and smell the ashes, Sammy boy. Time for me to tell everyone the truth that hides at the heart of the Stranding. You're gonna love it. I go grab some shut-eye at a digital center or whatever. If I were you, we've got Showdown coming. You're gonna want to be fighting fit. Just don't keep you waiting too long, you hear? You're all alone now. You've lost everything. Your mask, her quippy, the BB doll, gone. You thought you had the power, that you were the one fated to lead them unto extinction. Yet here you are, alone. That you were in control. That this was your role, your dream, the verge of victory of oblivion for one and for all. Hailed executor, pawn, good god particle. Ha! A stupid name for a stupid goddamn fool. This was your life, Higgs. Your tale told by an idiot, full of sounding righteous fear, signifying nothing. Oh, this is him. My first memory is looking at the ceiling of our shelter, the baby bawling my eyes out. All of a sudden, the hand of God comes into view, blotting out the steel sky. Daddy lifts me up, not gentle, but not hard. Trusts himself, but I told you I can't make heads or tails of. He ain't my real daddy, though. The one died before I was born, Mama soon after, of disease or something, I don't know. Brother took me in, whisked me away from that shelter, reeking of piss and death, and brought me here, Daddy number 2. He never really took to it. He was an ugly, violent man, full of anger, with nowhere to go. Tried to love me in his own way, but I don't know if he ever had it in him. Daddy told me our shelter was our world, and I believed him. I grew up thinking no one but us two existed. Then we got a little older. I started asking questions, simple questions about where food came from, that kind of thing. He got smacked upside the head for my troubles, but try as he might, he couldn't beat the curiosity out of me. One day I peeked at his monitor. It was the first glimpse I ever caught of the outside world. I pestered Daddy about it, and you bet I caught holy hell for it. I wrote him down, and eventually he came clean and admitted there was a whole world out there, so to the bone by timefall and overrun by demons that eat me up. It occurred to me later that his fear-mongering probably got my mama killed, filling her head with his hysterics about the dead walking the earth and the only safe haven being 6 feet under. My mama entrusted me to her brother, so he had no choice but to raise me best he could. Say what you will about the man, but he had himself a sense of obligation. He might even harbor a measure of affection for me. But whatever was in his heart, he expressed with his hands, his fists. Any hopes and dreams he might have had for me, for us, fell by the wayside pretty quick. We slipped into a daily routine of warnings to say the fuck inside, booking by beatings to drive the point home. I think sometimes he sincerely believed that was the only way to protect me, but I wasn't about to go on living like that. I can't cage a young boy's spirit. If I said I'd have died, body and soul. I had to get out. Started hoarding supplies in secret, but he caught on. This is the beginning of the worst beating yet. He was grabbing anything and everything within reach that could be used as a weapon, tearing our shelter apart, smashing furniture, all the while wailing like a wounded animal. Tears streaming down his face. He pinned me down, tears and spit flying in my face as he blubbered on about me not understanding his pain. His fucking pain, his hands around my neck, darkness creeping around his fucking pain. The kitchen knife in my hand, in his neck, his hands, his fucking hand, they grow weak and he just deflates like a balloon all over me. I roll him off and I look into his glassy eyes filled with his fucking pain in our still sky. Oh shit! Oh shit! Wow. I don't know how to feel after. I spent the night next to him. My mind, I think, in the back of it, a nagging voice saying I had disposed of it, that he hadn't told me much, but he had told me about how bodies go necro, pop, PTs, and all that. I had for a good bedtime story, so I knew what would happen if I let him by. Death come into our home and turn into a crater. His sink was starting to fill up the room. I had to deal with him, so I had to get him out and get him as far away as possible. So I got my arms under his and dragged him out into a new world with a new sky, bigger, emptier, bare rock dotted with bushes all around, mountains off in the distance, clouds between their peaks. My knees started getting wobbly, and the road began to spin, but I knew the clock was ticking. Eyes down, gotta deal with Daddy. Moving at a steady clip when I saw it coming off Daddy's little mouth shimmering light. I was out of time. I laid him down in the dirt. Before I got a vision, my hand still resting on his body disappeared, made bright into a fine mist, poof, and then I felt another presence of BT coming slow but sure. Like I've been walking since the beginning of time, Daddy's keeper. That was the first one I sensed. But it wasn't the last. For a long while after I remained awakened to their presence, a sixth sense parting gift to me. Over time it faded, but I knew how I got it. I knew how I'd get it back. All I was another body, and I got real good at making them a death for life. Theirs for mine, a fair exchange. The head of the outfit, Coffin. The head of the outfit recognized my talents, who sought me out, was a woman who called herself Coffin. I think she told me, "Oh boy, I heard that Bridges wanted to rebuild America. It was all well and good, but made no difference to me. I was content to stick with my smaller circle of associates, mind my own business, stay alive. But Coffin just wanted me a different yam. Said that Bridges was out to fuck the world up and then some. As their plan for rebuilding America involved, honest to God, human sacrifice of unborn children at that. These so-called BBs were being carted to some factory by the boatload to be slaughtered. She and her friends even done some of the carting themselves, unwittingly. The guilt was eating her alive. So Bridges are using children for their own ends. Them and Dad get along swell. Now Coffin, though, she and her crew are behind the spat of recent terrorism. Not that she considers it to be terrorism, of course, me neither. If Bridges is doing what she claims, and someone's got to make them pay. Am I right? Ain't no value in a false connection, especially if it comes at a steep cost like that. Something the man can't abide, so I'll stand with Coffin and follow her lead, even if it's got to be in secret. Coffin gave me a mission. We said our goodbyes, went our separate ways. She took a team and raided the BB factory. The tragedy was solid, and it should have gone like clockwork. Saved the kids, shut down the operation, and everyone goes home without feeling good. And then Bridges went and blew the whole damn factory of the Kingdom Come. Wiped out everything and everyone in an instant, of course. Out in the story they put the public and said they announced that despite the terrible destruction and loss of life, they finally managed to eliminate the terrorist threat. Or some such bullshit, like they know that Coffin survived. Guess whatever tunnels they built underground held up better than anticipated. No idea who else is down there or how they're holding up. Haven't heard from her in a while. Best to keep my distance and let Bridges think she's dead. I've got my own mission after all. Gotta head west, play the good porter a little while longer. Only way to save the BBs and put a stop to Bridges and do right by Coffin. And her daughter, should we ever cross paths, maybe if we'll ever meet again in a dream, maybe. The satellites. Wait. Report concerning the void in the satellite town of UCA 0102 near Central Knot City. UCA had been wiped out off the map by a void out, leaving nothing but an enormous crater. Terrorists went at first, but the investigators spearheaded by Bridges quickly ruled out the possibility, and eventually concluded that the cause was the corpse of a civilian which had been left to necronize under an urban residential area. Oh, the deceased was Lucy Strand. Tragically, she was also 7 months pregnant, and the child had already been named Lou. Cause of death was ruled a drug overdose, possibly intentional, though that remains unconfirmed at this time. Surveillance data was sent to Bridges HQ for analysis, but the results were inconclusive. Lucy's husband, Sam Strand, had been away for some time and became concerned when he was unable to contact his wife. Though he had attempted to return, the White House triggered immediately after his arrival. Being a patriot, Sam was the sole survivor of the blast. As for the deceased, was the wife of a prominent member of Bridges, who himself is the son of President Strand. Public support of the organization suffered. Many criticized the crisis management team's handling the situation, as well as the priorities of the organization and President Strand herself. Some believe that Sam Strand was involved with his wife's death and that he should be held to account. Although the administration and Bridges adamantly defended him for a time, public pressure continued to mount, and the gesture his co-workers suspect was his way of taking responsibility. Sam Strand resigned from Bridges. His current whereabouts are unknown. I just concluded my first jury session with Sam Strand. It was not held at the patient's request. Sam, as a mother, President Strand approached me and hoped I might help her son overcome his asemophobia. Sam is an intriguing case. His reluctance notwithstanding, he recognizes that his condition has and will continue to cause him much distress. I suspect it is rooted in childhood trauma, but unfortunately we have only just scratched the surface. I cannot even begin to speculate what it might be. Like many of the Bridges court team, Sam is the doomed sufferer. Unlike them, however, he's also a repatriate. Whether or not this is related to his asemophobia, I cannot say at this time, but he would hardly be the first to manifest phobias as a result of his abilities. As an infant, Sam lost both his parents and was adopted by President Strand, owing to her stressful and time-consuming responsibilities. I can only presume that this was unable to afford him sufficient attention, which is to say that a distant relationship with his adopted mother may be a contributing factor. As previously mentioned, though, Sam is very reluctant to talk about himself. He's an intensely private individual, and it will take him time to build trust and convince him to open himself up to me. Progress has been slow, but Sam has finally started to open up to me. However, his recollection of early childhood is confused and contradictory. He has difficulty distinguishing between genuine memories and recurring dreams. Sam even claims to have met his stepsister Emily on the beach several times while quite young, and impossible claim to say the least. I'm only a little older than Sam, but I was born before the Death Stranding. A fact that tends to affect the way we think about the beach. In my professional opinion, the beach is a figment of our collective imagination, a good shared delusion. But people born later are more likely to take its existence as a given. I wonder if they find comfort in the belief because it helps explain phenomena like beaches and repatriates like Sam. Similarly, my theory is that Sam's manufactured childhood memories of the beach are his way of coping with the fact that neither Amelie nor Bridges spent much time with him. I believe this is also the reason he still clings to the dream catcher. Amelie gave him, even now, as an adult, you could call it his security blanket. It may also be the key to overcoming his phasmophobia. Sam Murder mostly distanced himself from Amelie and my resistance to physical intimacy. I will propose this approach to Sam in the next session. It came as no surprise, but Sam was unreceptive to my suggestion and rejected my assessment of his relationship with Amelie. He asserted that he is not dependent on her or Bridget, and even went so far as to question my credentials as a psychotherapist. His pronounced resistance to the idea only serves as further evidence of its dependency. Nevertheless, there is little I can do if Sam is unwilling to explore the possibility, other than continue to share my observations and hope that he eventually changes his mind. For the time being, I decided to focus instead on Sam's feeling towards Bridges and its place within the organization, given that it was founded to support and protect his mother, and that the other core members have doomed like he does. I think there is something to be gained from his discussion. His growing dependence, the responsibility of some Bridges due to their expanding mandate, and his ability to repatriate surely put him under greater pressure, and I wonder if his enthusiasm for their mission was sincere. Based on our time spent together thus far, I believe he may have embraced his role because it helped him to cope with feelings of isolation that he pledged himself to an impossible endeavor, preferable to living and dying alone. A few days after into my office, I attended my resignation, a constant case of counter-transference. The therapist getting emotionally involved with their client, and there was no way in my professional pride would permit me to continue working. I felt guilty, of course. There's a permanent shortage of therapists, and many of my clients will struggle to find help elsewhere. But after what happened with Sam, I didn't see any other option. Being able to come to terms with it, what I'm doing for Sam more than makes up for it. I never normally use this word, but I really do believe that asthenophobia has been cured. He's shown so much progress absent an extremely traumatic experience. I doubt symptoms will ever occur. I'm surprised the president didn't have any problem with our relationship. If anything, she was pleased. I suppose this means that I'll soon be joining the next Strand family, together with this new life growing inside of me. Oh! I should have gotten that. Special Forces, John Blake McClane, provided physical and mental up to his talents, working by Captain Clifford Unger, who likes to give McClane special training. Under Captain Unger's command, McClane took part in several missions during which he earned a rating for survival against all odds, as evidenced by his nickname Die Hardman. I can join the death. All personal data and official documentation concerning the subject indicate that he deceased. However, even after reconstructing the collation of data from additional Soviet Army to confirm cremates of the subject's corpse, unfortunately, recovery of incinerated records from the time in question has so far proved difficult on account of the incident's proximity to Death Stranding. While the possibility that the corpse underwent necrosis and was subsequently transferred to a BT cannot be ruled out entirely, the probability is exceedingly low. In other words, there is no evidence that the subject has in fact died. Significant portion of the subject's personal data appear to have been discreetly modified and expunged, but forensic study has led us to the discovery of a living individual who bears striking resemblance to the deceased. Subsequent analysis of genetic samples to indeed confirm a DNA match for this Die Hardman. In the asexual world, no! Records suggest that the widespread aversion towards physical contact MC was a phenomenon that had been observed even before the Death Stranding. One contemporary report, for example, details the increasing amount of the secular lifestyle among young people. A growing percentage of the younger cohort were self-identifying as asexual, claiming to be incapable of feeling desire or attraction. Accordingly, such individuals were less likely to have children or engage in sexual activity. It should be noted, however, that many other unique sexual identities were being recognized during this period, such as demisexuals who are incapable of sexual attraction without emotional connection, and panoramics who profess an attraction unrestricted by sex or gender, albeit one not necessarily asexual in nature. One theory suggests that the Stranding accelerated the proliferation of these sexualities in a terrifying new world in which BTs roam. Annihilation is an everyday occurrence. People who have grown resistant to form emotional with others. Although there has been no measurable decrease in human fertility, the birth rate has nevertheless dropped dramatically. Incidents of sexual harassment and assault have also seen a sharp decrease, which seems to suggest that sex could not be further from our minds, for better or for worse. I must preempt myself for admitting that I do not have any empirical data from which to support the following claim. That said, it's my contention that, based on the former observation and others, the vast majority of the population could be categorized as asexual. Flag for our card review article advances a controversial thesis widely regarded as unsubstantiated and discriminatory. Prevailing theory is that increased self-identification of affirmative sexuality due to increased societal awareness and acceptance. Historical records indicate individuals asserting their identities falling outside of its gender, heteromatic face significant discrimination and persecution, leading to suppression and concealment of survival strategies. It's generally accepted that a variety of factors contribute to reduced sexual activity and birth rate. Pre- and post-studies are ongoing. Doomed in the Zodiac, Australia used more encouragement, of course, and Jumbo. Got that. Umbrella and Sue. Do you think that Fragile carries an umbrella? I see why you jumped to that conclusion, but well, with that shape and all, but you're wrong. Extending constantly, I thought it was an umbrella too at first. It's actually some kind of navigational device that Fragile came up with herself. I won't pretend to understand what the theory behind it, but I'm told it factors chiral density across beaches and plots coordinates for her jumps. Fragile's got some kind of dooms that lets her move from beach to beach. That what she tells us, she kind of clears her mind and lets her power do the rest. Maybe something similar with the spikes on her suit. When Fragile sends from concentration, they pop out. I'm not sure if she'd be able to. Otherwise, like an unconscious reaction, the spikes only react when chiral density decreases. But who knows? Names and theories are just some ways of coping with things we don't really understand. Same with chiral visual indications and of the intangible. Maybe all I can say is that Fragile's umbrella and spikers seem to help. Spikes seem to help her hone her powers. From the report on the Red on Manhattan, who the hell? Those were the doctors trying to work at the time. No one knew to whom he was referring.
like you talk, but what will I do when you're not around? When you're not around. When you're not around. When you're not around. My arrow is pointed straight, just like you talk. But what will I do when you're not around? When you're not around. When you're not around. When you're not around.
It might have brought America closer together, but some prices aren't worth paying. We objected, but Bridges wouldn't hear it, so we took matters into our own hands, did some digging, learned that Strand wasn't party to the plan, wasn't to be acting on their own initiative, most likely betraying Bridget and America both. Once we knew they came for us, started threatening our families. I had a husband and a newborn. I couldn't let any harm come to them. I disappeared, go underground, so going by coffin, and began recruiting like-minded patriots to form an organization to fight back against Bridges. It was my attempt at atonement, I suppose, for the part I prayed in that inconscionable evil. Soon I was training porters day and night and teaching them how to fight and survive. Then one day I hear about this kid, a freelancer with a very unique skill set. Not doomed exactly, but something similar. A sixth sense for BT. Wasn't too sure about signing up to the cause, though. His father had been a real piece of work. I kind of talked with his fist. He carried that legacy of violence, and the thought of facing more terrified him. I could tell, but I couldn't let him walk. We talked long into the night, and at the end I looked him in the eye and said, a heart can only bleed so much. Got a heart in yours. Some, if you're going to say I'm broken. He joined the next day. I reported that I can track BT, the priceless asset. Too many sacrifices to count. I prayed that one would last. The freelance name was Peter Engler. His father died when he was young, leaving Peter to fend for himself. There was such a fear in him, but beneath that was a terrible anger at the world. Never in it. At the time, I believed it was a manifestation of a passion to put himself something better. I convinced myself, or tried to. I told Peter what Bridges was doing and asked him to help me put an end to it. The plan was simple. I'd hit the BB production facility with my group, and he'd take his people west to establish a base for the operations for our resistance, maintain cover at the border, but keep his eyes peeled for potential recruits. I haven't heard anything from my husband in a while, and I'm beginning to feel the worst. Did we get to him? What about my daughter? Is she safe? I wish I had more time. I haven't told anyone yet, but I'm not well. Too many miles on the spy. I can feel it breaking down. So little time to stop Bridges to make it right. The cause will outlive me, it must. I made Peter promise to keep the flame burning even after my husband and I are gone. I made him promise to look after my daughter too. She's strong in her own way, but still too fragile. And for this world, I fear, I pray she doesn't break. I pray for a brighter future awaits her. And Peter too, that poor boy. We are done.
Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. All weapons will remain locked until departure.
Alright, and want to see what happens.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Looks like you've got a lot on your hands. Doesn't matter how it happens, panic for it. And if you're directly responsible, all the more reason to clean it up. Any corpse left alone will eventually go necro and pop a BT. Gotta dispose of it before that happens.
But what happens if I leave it? Oh, I'm gonna leave it. Whatever. Well,
Come on, Will. I need you.
they do go BT. Boy.
Sorry, kid. Lou. Gotta wake up, Lou.
ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected.
Keep on keeping
All
on.
weapons will be locked until
Hey,
the
mine's heavier.
Cargo verified. Thank you. Contaminating suit. Rest is advised. Good morning, Sam. Have a pleasant journey. Decontaminating suit. All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges. Good morning, Sam. pleasant journey. Decontaminating system. All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges.
Oh, I can't have an extra battery. It should be able to propel me forward. Should be enough.
Have a pleasant journey. Weapons restrictions lifted.
How do we work? You know what we're going. Come on. Logging out.